This would not lift the UK hunting ban. It would mean that employers were not able to discriminate against employees with pro-hunting views. The former Labour Minister, Mike Foster, hit back on Twitter, saying it's an example of people who've lost the plot. So, should fox hunters become a protected group in the United Kingdom? Well, delighted to be debating this now. We're joined by the chair of Hunting Kind, Ed Swales, who feels fox hunters should be a protected group, and Pip Donovan, the founder of Action Against Fox Hunting, who thinks that they shouldn't. My goodness me, where do we start with this? Well, Ed, you're making the case. What is it?
Thanks very much indeed. Hopefully I'm not losing the plot. We've investigated with senior legal people in this country, lawmakers, governors of law, and specifically we've just looked at the Equality Act 2010 and looked at the protectable characteristics of minorities, as you mentioned there, Roma, LGBT+, all the rest of those. And we've thought, well, how could we, because we feel that we are a group of people who are being eradicated and our way of life is about to end very, very possibly with Labour legislation. And we thought, well, we're going to have a look at the law and see if the law can work for us.
Just on that point, what are Labour looking to introduce? I thought fox hunting was already banned.
Yeah, sure. No, fox hunting was banned by Act of Parliament in 2004. So Tony Blair's government invoked the Parliament Act and went past the House of Lords. And I think he used something like 700 hours of parliamentary time to debate that, followed up by a quick, sneaky 7 hours to go to Iraq because everybody was quite happy with him by then because he'd banned fox hunting. So that's been banned since 2004. What Labour now, Keir Starmer, has decided to include in the manifesto to ban trail hunting, which has been the replacement activity that we were actually advised to do by Labour back in 2004.
Well, goodness me, Pip, does this not sound like there is a group here who are being discriminated against, their way of life being eradicated?
Well, their way of life involves taking a pack of hounds out into the countryside and either deliberately or accidentally killing an animal. If you think about the stag hunts, since the stag hunts season started on the 1st of August, they've killed 3 stags that we know of. They've pursued them for hours and then they killed them. So the reason why people don't like fox hunters or stag hunters or hare coursers or hare hunters is because of the animal cruelty involved.
Pip, could I ask you a parallel question?
Yeah.
Would you say that Amazonian tribes should move out of the rainforest and not attack animals in the rainforest and go and move into cities and stop living their traditional lives?
Not at all. The point about fox hunting and any other type of hunting that we're talking about here is that it's recreational animal cruelty. It's a sport. And the fox hunting ban came in because it was considered unethical to pursue an animal, a wild mammal, for sport. And we all know that the reason why the government now are planning on banning trail hunting is because the Hunting Act 2004 has been disregarded by the hunts, and we all know that. And it really is time that we all admitted that, because until we admit that, none of us can move on.
Ed, to a lot of people it might sound a little bit ridiculous to put pro-fox hunting views in the same sort of, I don't know, group or idea as legislation to protect minority characteristics like your sexuality or your race. I mean, Gareth's gone so far as to say, he's got in touch, he says, foxes should be a protected group, not the pompous killers who hunt them. That's Gareth's strong view. What do you say to that?
Well, I think that hits the nail on the head, thank you, because the lack of understanding and let's say sort of prejudiced discrimination based on a bit of a lack of, or quite a lot of lack of understanding of our way of life makes it very, very easy to discriminate. And looking at those lovely pictures you just had on of foxhounds, if that's what they were, they might have been staghounds, I don't know, in a community as part of the life of rural communities. That's a thread that's been going on for, I don't know, since man was running around in cave paintings, with dogs chasing deer, let's say. And so through our literature and our art and our culture and our relationships with each other, with our landholders and our farmers, we've developed over millennia these really deeply held strong views and opinions about ourselves and our way of life. And I think you can, if you don't confuse questions like race or sexuality with ethnicity, which is essentially just people grouping together based around their shared beliefs and identifying with each other. That's, I think, essentially it. Then you can look at the qualifications for that and see that we very closely fit that. So we've got a long and shared cultural history, which is distinct from wider society. We've got distinct customs of our own. We've got a common geographical origin because we all, I live in Northumberland. My family's been here 500 years, indigenous British people. Not wishing to say anything else about anybody else. I'm just saying that's what we are. And we do have common ancestors, common language and common literature. So those things qualify, whether anybody would agree with what we do or like what we do. Those things qualify us for that protected status.
Yes, I suppose it does sound silly on the face of it, but perhaps the legislation has been badly written and is silly in the first place. But Pip Donovan, I wonder, there is... Let's try another comparison. Muslims living in the United Kingdom aren't born with their faith. Now, it's a huge part of who they are. It's held very deeply with them. But they would say that the right to slit the throats of animals in order to produce halal food is protected under the Equality Act. Is that not similar to what we're hearing here with this argument about fox hunting?
I don't think it's similar at all. I think what you've got to bear in mind that Ed thinks it is okay to take a pack of dogs out into the countryside and allow them to tear a fox apart. That is what he's trying to protect. I have no problem with them going out on their horses. I have no problem with them riding across the fields. I have no problem with them dressing up in their pinks. I don't mind. The only thing I object to is taking a pack of dogs out into the countryside and allowing them to tear an animal apart. That is wrong. That is morally wrong. The Muslim issue is quite separate, and I don't think I'm qualified to comment on it.
But why not, though? You're saying that it's unnecessary fox hunting and all the rest of it, even though it's a deeply held tradition that many people in the United Kingdom believe in. It's also a very deeply held belief for Muslim people that in order to correctly kill an animal, you slit its throat while it hangs. Now, a lot of animal rights activists say that that's wrong, but that is protected under the Equality Act because it's a belief that is protected. Is there a big difference?
Yes, a huge difference. One is being done for food, the other is being done for fun.
OK. Well, you've both made your cases very strongly. Thank you very much indeed for your time. Really appreciate it. Ed Swales, who is the chair of Hunting Kind, who is potentially taking this legal action to make pro-fox hunters a protected characteristic, and also Pip Donovan, the founder of Action Against Fox Hunting. Get your views in. They're already coming in thick and fast.
They really are, but I think it is a fascinating...
It is, actually. It says more about the legislation, doesn't it?
Well, absolutely, because it's about these parallels and perhaps the sloppy way in which the Equality Act has actually been written.
Well, there you go. This is Good Afternoon Britain. We're on GB News. Now, we've got lots more coming up on today.